Hello, and welcome to episode 3?
Dude, we got 4 episodes now.
This is episode 4?
It's episode 4, I believe, right? We had episode 1 was So We're Really Doing This.
Yep.
Episode 2 was TV's movies and bullshit, I think.
Sure.
And then episode 3 was Spices and Spotify.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, this is episode 4 then. Episode 4 of the fucking Brunch Party Podcast. I almost said the two-man Brunch Party Podcast again. Too long of a name, that is. We would have chosen that, but much too long of a name. This week, we have incorporated beverages into it.
Ooh, what kind of beverage do you have, Mark?
I have a Budweiser because my other beer isn't cold yet.
My other beer isn't cold yet either.
Yeah.
Well, none of my beer is cold, so I have a whiskey.
You have a
There's
whiskey.
a 40 Creek whiskey.
Yes, you do. Good old Canadian whiskey right there. Well, I guess we should introduce ourselves, shouldn't we?
We could do that.
I am Mark Kohler of the Two-Man Brunch Party Incorporated.
Oh, we're incorporated now.
Are we? Do you know that?
So.
What does incorporated mean, Curtis? Your business. You.
Let's not talk about that. That's not entertaining.
All right. Fair. That's fair. Right? I just have an exam coming up. I don't know.
Okay, you're trying to get answers. That makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah. And who are you?
I am Curtis Fat Fuck Kohler.
Now it's just getting sad.
Nothing sad about that, Mark. It was a nickname, and all nicknames are flattering, aren't they?
No, they're not. They're absolutely not.
So people weren't being complimentary.
Yeah,
when they call me that.
I could tell. I don't think anyone wants to be called fat fuck. Would they just be like, no, I don't think I want to.
I thought it was like PH, like, yo, that's fat. You're the fattest fuck.
Is that on both, on fat and fuck? You thought it was PH? Like, which one would have made it?
Dude, that would have been cool.
Would it have?
That would have been cooler than the other ones, right?
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah, let's move on from that.
Yeah, I think you gotta bring something better to the table next week. I won't lie.
I've got nicknames, man. I got nicknames for days.
I don't want to be sad when I record.
I've been called everything in the books, so we'll keep it going.
Everything in the books.
Yeah, that's one of my nicknames. I spoiled the next one.
Curtis, everything in the books, Kohler.
Can I change it for this week? Can I go with a more upbeat one?
I mean, sure, we're past it now, but sure, I'll allow it.
I am the best guy you know. Curtis, the best guy you know, Kohler.
But you've only ever called yourself that.
I've been called that by others.
Who?
Squad, man. If you say it enough, people will say it to you.
Yeah, but you...
Yep,
I
gave it to myself.
Yeah, it's not cool to give yourself a nickname, though.
It is when it's the best guy you know.
Wow. I think I could disagree with that.
I'm pretty sure I'm the best guy you know, so it doesn't matter.
Hey, did we ever bring up the fact that you got Mike's question wrong on the podcast?
We did, yeah. And it was in the description of that podcast.
Okay, yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. I just kind of thought of that now. Also, Slam, speaking of Slam, Mr. Slam Keo, very loyal viewer of ours. Also, we just started Football Manager Network Save with
a cheeky little network save. A
little three-person Portuguese network save. I am managing Sporting, Slam's managing Benfica, and Curtis is managing Porto.
I'm the worst of the three, so I got the best team.
I will say I have already defeated both of them. So there's that.
But you've also lost a game in the league.
Yes, I have, but
so
doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm the worst. I'm the worst of all of us. So maybe this network save will be what it takes for me to get good at that game.
I mean, probably not.
No, not at all.
It's probably you just having to play the game. Or maybe you. I don't know.
Playing the game differently.
Maybe you just aren't ever going to be good.
See,
I don't think a network save will do it for you.
I have personal saves that are good, but it's like one of every 5.
There you go. Football Manager's hard, man. Shit ain't easy. It ain't easy being squeezy or cheesy or FME. I don't know.
It ain't easy being cheesy.
Something like that. But yeah, no, Slam sent me a message that I was gonna save so we could bring up this week's podcast about why, about the differences between, like, last week we were talking about how we went to the hockey game, and you brought up the fact that, like, there's just so much going on at a hockey game, unlike soccer. And he basically said, I don't want to get what he said wrong.
You don't want to misquote him?
But I'm probably going to. So.
No, when you say going on, I just mean like more of a theatrical, not like in the sport itself. There's more going on.
No,
but in in the production of the sport.
There's more shit
so much
going on.
Yeah.
But he basically said, like, especially with the things like the Leafs and TFC, which I don't completely agree with what he said, but I think it makes sense. Like Leafs games, those tickets just get given away to people, right? Like companies and all that, they just like they give them to people.
It's a weird thing about the Leafs, where the Leafs are owned by the MLSE, which is a big company. And because tickets are so expensive, a lot of them are owned by different companies and different things that have like X amount of season tickets. And yeah, like you said, they just hand them to people. And if you want to buy a ticket to go see the Leafs, it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Not the same with TFC though.
No, but well, what basically he was saying is, there's more people that like don't specifically like hockey or love hockey that go to Leafs games. And for the most part, if you're going to a TFC game, everyone there is there for a TFC game, right? Like they're soccer fans. Whereas if you go to a Leafs game, that's not always the case. They're sometimes there just because they got the tickets given to them. It's like, oh, Leafs, let's go take the family out for a good old hockey game, right?
That's a very small look at the bigger picture, though, right? Because you wouldn't go to a Kitchener Rangers hockey game, which was the one we were using as an example, if you were just, it was just, oh, here's some Rangers tickets for free.
Why
like
not,
that's
though?
Like most of the people there are there because they love Kitchener Rangers hockey.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I mean, did it get to that point with NHL hockey where, because I mean, that's not just with the Leafs where people, like, I mean, a lot of people go just because tickets are given to them from specific things.
But that's
most of the
sport.
NHL. So did it just get to that point with, like, professional hockey where it just makes sense to, like, run it like this? Because it's
I was looking at things as more of like
else.
a crowd. I was looking at things as more like of a crowd atmosphere sort of thing, where it has a lot more to do with. For me, it has a lot to do with like getting the way they get the crowd involved.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I don't know. I don't want to rehash old topics because it was just a weird thing to notice. There's nothing you can analyze that much about it, but yeah, it was just something I noticed.
So before we had started recording this, I got some text messages in my group chat. Excuse me. It was about Counter-Strike, of course. That's all we talk about.
Yes, of course.
So they rolled back the changes they made to all the gun changes in Counter-Strike. We were talking about that on stream the other day, and you were like,
yes.
The
one-shot kill pistol was
actually
the big
that one is the one that didn't get moved back. But like, what was almost even worse about the update is they had changed accuracy of guns and the way it fires and all that.
Okay.
And
so like the sprays and stuff like that.
Sprays and stuff, and like walking and shooting with pistols and all that. They changed all that back because everyone was pissed off at it because it was way too random and it didn't take any skill. So you had something on stream that was just like, oh, you just gotta kind of give it time, give people some time to figure out and play with it more. Apparently not.
No, but
no, I mean, I'm just like,
I literally said in that stream that if people hate it so much, they'll nerf it.
Yeah, but
and then you said, well, they don't nerf things. Well, we're talking about specifically the pistol.
They did. Well, everyone knew they were going to nerf the pistol. Basically, the reason why they kept the pistol like that they made the pistol like that, I think, is just so they could sell skins for it. I mean, why not? So put it out for a week of it being...
Put it out for a week, sell a fuck ton of skins because everyone's going to use it, and then nerf it down. Yeah. People won't use it as much, but you sold the skins. Exactly. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it's called marketing, and it works. Mm-hmm. Sometimes shady, but, it's the field we're in.
Yeah, it's... So guns are back to normal, apparently, in Counter-Strike, which is nice.
That's good. That's good for the people who enjoy that game.
Yeah, that's... There's 9 million, like, different people that play Counter-Strike every single month. And that is fucking crazy.
That is insane.
They always have like the analytics on screen when you open up Counter-Strike, and it's just absolutely crazy to see. An insanely popular game. And me and you might be going to a little major.
We might take a cheeky little drive out to a major
down to Columbus for a weekend, possibly. I mean, probably won't happen, but we've talked about it.
I'm willing to make it happen, but we have to get on the passport stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
before we even talk about buying tickets, we have to get on the passport stuff. Once we have our passport, once we're in the process of getting our passports renewed, like once they're paid for and they're just in the process of that, then I will say fucking buy tickets. I don't care.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so that might be a thing. Brunch party on the road, dude.
Brunch party on the road.
Fucking.
Talked about it for years.
We record one. Well, we've talked about it for months.
Years, man.
Years? Yeah.
Years.
We haven't even been doing brunch party for a year.
Years, Mark. We've talked about road trips.
Yeah, road trips.
And then
recording a podcast just comes along with that.
Oh, excuse me. A little hiccup there.
So how you been doing, Curtis? You think you have a tapeworm, right?
That's weird. I don't know if I have a tapeworm.
I'm gonna go with you probably don't.
I have this thing that's going on lately, where I eat and I eat and I eat and I eat. Shouldn't say that. I've been eating better lately. I've been eating more healthy in the last, what would you say, month, 2 months?
When did you stop working?
My schedule cut down a lot like 2 months ago.
Okay. Well, I mean, we started really eating better once you actually fully stopped.
Yeah, like we just cook a lot of food here now. We don't go out for shit.
Which
as much.
it's not necessarily the healthiest food, but it's not like processed fast food shit, right? So.
Yes, yeah, but there's nothing processed. Like everything's home cooked.
Mm-hmm.
We've put a lot more vegetables into our life.
We eat a lot of chicken.
More chicken than
any other thing, really.
Not deep frying things anymore.
Mm-hmm. Not going.
It is healthier. It is much healthier.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, it's not the most healthy thing ever, but we're healthier.
Yeah, we're eating healthier than we were 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
But yeah, I have this thing going on. I'll eat, and I'll have my food, whether it's lunch or dinner or whatever it might be, and then hour and a half, 2 hours later, I'm just starving again. Like not even just like hungry where you're like, oh, I'm snacky. Just actually stomach is grumbling, I need to eat.
You're a big growing boy, Curtis.
I was joking around last night saying maybe I have a tapeworm, but I think I don't know. I think it has something to do with the timing that we eat. I think that the way we eat lately, it's a lot of just let's just cook something when it's convenient to make it. So it's lunch can either be at 11 o'clock or 4 o'clock for me, and then dinner can be at 6 or 9. So if I have
I feel like dinner we usually have it around the same. We're usually cooking dinner at 5 o'clock. Usually.
Yeah,
sometimes
but it's hit or miss. So yesterday I got super hungry. We didn't eat till 8:30 yesterday.
Yeah.
8:30 or 9 yesterday. I think it's a timing thing. I don't know. I hope it gets better because
I really don't know what it could that. I've never.
It's weird. It's really weird, and I feel it makes me feel shitty. Just
I don't know what.
I'll be in bed at midnight and I'll be starving and I don't want to go up and get food because it's fucking midnight and it's just ugh. Because I'm gonna have a snack. So I have Cliff Bars all over the place now. Or I'll have one of those when I'm hungry.
Yeah, I don't know what that could be. It's very odd.
I don't like it at all.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. Yeah, no doubt.
Definitely not tapeworm. Other than that, I'm pretty good though. I'm so close to being done school. I'm so close to being graduated.
Yeah.
I have one more test left, and if the test goes well, I'm done.
Yeah, you're done forever.
Other than the fact that I don't know, we were talking about it on stream the other day.
Yeah, that was weird. Did you hear anything back about that?
No emails.
Nothing.
No emails. And I even went through and I looked at all the mandatory stuff because sometimes. So the situation here. Sorry, you kind of interrupt me before I finished my one course. Did pretty good in it. Did pretty good in everything. Missed the odd thing, but it wasn't anything big, like a 2% test or 2% quiz or whatever. Just online stuff. And calculated my own final grade. Was mid to high 70s. Got an email come out to me saying that my final adjusted grade for the course was a 0. I was like, what? That's weird. So I sent an email to the teacher hey, I've done everything for this course. I did all the mandatory assignments. I wrote all the tests. I missed a small quiz here or there, but they aren't mandatory things. It's literally just a bunch of you have an online quiz every week, and people usually miss half of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And yeah, just didn't hear back from her. I was like, that's a pretty shitty thing to do, just not respond. But all right, I'll give it a couple more days. So it's been 2 days now since I've sent that email out. Might send an email to a different account or to my program coordinator. But yeah, just that weird thing where I know it's probably just a weird error in the online program they use for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just so unsettling to see that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because the email it was a personal email to me. The one that happened was just because I needed I just need 2 courses left to graduate. So it was a personal email to me that said, hey, I put your final adjusted grade up. You can email your course coordinator saying you finished the class. Congratulations on graduating. Your final grade is up on the program. So I went up on the program and it said 0. I was like, he said congratulations for graduating, but it says a 0. So
maybe she's fucking with you.
Yeah, I gotta look into it.
That'd be disappointing, wouldn't it?
I gotta look into it some more, but yeah.
I'm sure it's just a tiny error that happened.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's finals week, right?
There's also 2 different portals. And I haven't checked the second one because that's one of the weird things with our college. We have we use the Desire to Learn program by Google, and then they also have their own portal. So I should go check the actual student portal and not just the
that'd be a good idea.
Desire to Learn. I didn't think about that till now.
But
I'm almost done school. I'm almost graduated. That's cool.
You are. I'm almost done my first year, or my first semester of my first real year of college. I really stumbled over my words there. How do you speak? I don't know.
How does make words?
I don't know. It's tough sometimes. But yeah, that's it's gone, good, I guess.
So there's something I want to propose to you, and I was waiting for, I've had this in my mind for 3 days. So it's something that I thought a lot about, because the way I am, I was like, I can't hold on to things for a podcast. I would have told you right away, but I was specifically holding on to this for the podcast.
Sure.
Star Wars comes out this weekend.
Yes, it does. Oh my god.
We are both.
It does. Oh my god.
Unbelievable. We're recording this on a Tuesday. It comes out on a Thursday. Now, we're not going to be able to go see it opening weekend. It's all sold out. It's sold out in pre-sales.
Yep.
But there's a chance that we could go see it by next Tuesday.
Yes, there is.
Maybe. So that by next Tuesday we could, have a cheeky little talk about it on the podcast. Obviously, not spoiling anything for anyone because we can't do that to people.
Just be hyped about it, basically. Unless it's shitty.
Would you like to sit down this weekend and watch the first 6 episodes with me?
I don't know if we have time for that.
In the anticipation for the movie coming out, will you watch the first 6 episodes?
I mean, I'd love to, but I think you would have needed to give me more time. It's like, if you think about it, I work on Saturday, and then I usually sleep or play Counter-Strike and then go hang out with my friends.
Okay.
And you have an exam on Saturday.
No, Thursday.
Oh, I thought, okay, never mind. And then, we also sometimes stream on Saturday, and we stream on Sunday.
Do an earlier stream on Sunday, 2 or 3 hours, maybe at noon. Then, we could spend 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
Yep.
Watching Star Wars. Bring Langer over, play some video games. Monday we'll watch the next 3. Then Tuesday we go see the new one.
Okay, if we split it up, because usually when we're there,
I'm not saying in one day. Okay, I'm saying
because that's usually how we do it. Yeah, no, I could do that.
Nice, I like that. We haven't sat down and done a binge watch on movies in a while.
Because it's hard, man.
It's very hard. We used to do it a lot though. We used to do it on a maybe monthly basis.
Not binge watch movies like that. We would watch a movie together, but I mean, we would watch Star Wars and Lord of the Rings once, maybe twice a year. It wasn't that much. That'd be insane to watch those movies once.
But there was weekends, I'd say once a month, where we just spend a night just watching 3 or 4 movies and just playing games.
Yeah. But I mean, binge watching is watching all those movies. That's a commitment.
Yeah, but binge watching is just watching a bunch of stuff in a row. It doesn't have to be all.
But we did that. I mean, we would watch Batman trilogy a lot.
Batman's we did the Harry Potters. We did the
We did Harry Potters once, I think.
We did the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean was pretty fun. I like the Harry Potter. I would like to do the Harry Potter ones again. I haven't seen those movies in a while. I like those movies. Those movies are really good.
Yeah, I do too.
The first couple are kind of grindy, but
I like the first couple more than the new couple, just because they were the ones that when I was actually into that sort of thing when I was young and growing up. Those were the ones that were out.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
I like me some Daniel Radcliffe.
We could grind through a couple movies when we play games together. For the next little bit.
Langer, because we want Langer to come watch Star Wars with us, right? We want him.
Yes.
Has he seen all 6 Star Wars?
Probably.
I don't know.
Hopefully.
I don't know if he has. Maybe we'll have to bring him over for all 6 of them.
Maybe. I bet he wouldn't be down for that, but we can try.
Yeah, I bet he wouldn't be down for that either. Well, maybe. Maybe if he's feeling better, he would.
Yeah.
He's a little sick boy right now.
He's a little bit of a sick boy right now.
When isn't he sick boy, though?
I really want to get Langer on the podcast.
Yeah.
I really do.
I just don't know if it'll happen.
I don't know if it'll happen either.
So, guys, Mark Lang, he's Curtis's longest friend, or God,
one of my oldest friends.
Yeah, one of your oldest friends, one of your weirdest friends.
Yeah, absolutely one of my weirdest. But like weird in like a somewhat normal way. Comparatively to some of my other friends, weird in a normal way.
Yeah, but
like a good type of
weird.
weird.
To your friends is not a good.
You got strange friends too.
Yeah, but not. I mean, you know.
I know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, comparing him to your other friends is a bit difficult. But he's he thinks in a much different way than every other human to ever live has. So it'd be interesting to get his opinions on things on this podcast, or just get him talking about something.
We could add him in over Skype. He's got a good enough microphone that we could just have him record a file and send it to us.
Yeah, but I feel like if we got him in a room, he would want to talk more than if he was over Skype. Because if I looked him in the eyes,
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
We can put him on. We can put him on the spot too.
Yeah,
I guess it's a good time to bring up the whole idea of guests. We have played around with the idea of having guests on the podcast. We now have a way we can do it.
We haven't tested it yet, but we know it'll work.
Yeah, we figured out the logistics of having a guest on the podcast. It'll take a little bit of testing, but it's all of the 5 minutes before we record with a person. Who would like to have some guests on the podcasts?
Slam Keo. That's my vote.
That's one you want? You want to have Slam on? Slam,
Mhm.
if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the podcast sometime.
Maybe Justin Herget, if he would ever.
I'd love to have Justin on the
I don't think he would, but
over Skype, I think he would.
Mr. Hergbot over there.
Because he can just be quiet if he's not feeling
He
it.
can talk about Hergbot,
Yeah.
the famous creator of the monstrosity that is Hergbot. Maybe he'll come on.
The most broken bot on Twitch.
I don't know
We love him.
who would come on this podcast. Do you think?
Chaz said he would.
That's true, actually.
Completely Chaz.
Boy, that would be a.
I bet if we asked nice enough
Do you think we
and
could?
ask a lot,
Yeah.
I bet we could get Ben on here. I bet we could. Just for
Maybe.
a guest spot, a little half-hour cheeky Ben guest spot.
Maybe we could do that. Yeah.
But
I think if we got Chaz on here, do you think
it wouldn't be our podcast anymore. He would take it over.
Do you think
so
we
fast.
could get him to talk for an hour, just him? We would.
Oh, yeah.
We would introduce him and be ask him one question.
Yeah.
You think we'd get him to just talk the entire time?
Of course.
So I know something with you and Slam last night. You guys just
talk over each other.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's not even one of you will back down. And actually, to be fair, Slam won. It's like a competition whenever you guys try and talk. Slam wins a lot. I won't lie.
Yeah, he just goes.
He finishes his. I think it's because he doesn't wear headphones. He plays it sort of quietly through speakers, in his room.
Butthole.
So I think it doesn't.
I would just assumed it was because he was American.
Maybe.
Dude, we were just talking. We haven't talked to Brian and Adam in a while.
That's true. We could have a nice little North American.
We could have the cheeky little FMA team on.
Yeah, I bet that would be a thing.
Anyway, enough about talking about what may or may not be a thing.
Yeah, just in before none of these people want to come on our podcast.
Did you bring any cool talking points to the table today?
Well, I mean, I was reading Reddit this morning, and I don't know where I saw the comment. I don't know what it was, what thread it was on, but it was an app. It's an app for the Play Store right now. It's in the works of an iPhone app, but it's just different sounds to it's ambient noises or whatever, right? So you got rain on here, you got thunder, you got waves, you got wind, you got fire, which sounds fantastic. You got birds, crickets, which I'm not a huge cricket fan, kind of annoying. You've got a coffee shop, which is not a great sound. Too busy, too much
busy.
going on. You got a singing bull.
Excuse me?
Yeah, don't know.
Okay.
Maybe whistles. Maybe Well, I mean, I could play it if you want.
Maybe don't play that one.
Okay, and then white noise. Do you want? I'm gonna play it because I want to talk about white noise. So I'm gonna.
Are you a fan of white noise?
This is what we're gonna get into.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna play white noise real quick. If anyone
right.
doesn't know what it is, I'm sure everyone does, but
I'll be quiet.
that's white noise.
Yep. I like how wait, before you say anything, you turn that off so fast. You hate it, don't you?
It makes me anxious. White noise makes me anxious.
You should have seen his face when he went to go turn that off. It was on. And it was like, on. Okay, I gotta shut this off now. Like,
I don't know.
You had this reaction where you looked at your phone, you're like, I gotta shut this off, and tossed your phone away.
I don't know what it, like, because, I don't know, like, I've seen people talk about how, like, Poltergeist made them afraid of the white noise when they were kids. That was just, like, a thing. They were like, oh, I don't like
Fantastic movie.
But I watched Poltergeist for the first time when I was like 13, so I was fine with it because that was a laughable movie when I was 13.
It was pretty laughable comparatively to things that you've seen at that point, right?
Yeah, I don't know why it makes me so like nervy. It's really strange. I've always I hate white noise so much. I don't get how people can just play it in the background just to like soothe them. I'm like,
put a headset on and use it to listen to while you do your homework or you do work to keep yourself not distracted or whatever.
I mean,
that's what people do, man.
Yeah, but it's I could never, like, why not do a fireplace or some rain? I
have that in my life just without the noise app. That's just the background stereo to my noise at all times. It's the crackling of a fire.
Yeah, and that's fantastic.
It's pretty good. It's pretty nice.
Like, I'm straight up. It's so strange. Like, I literally don't know why why that's a thing.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
But it makes me like.
I could tell by your face.
Nervy and anxious.
You were not about that.
Maybe I think the Ring Girl will come through my phone.
You know, that brings up an interesting conversation. Are you a scary movie fan? Do you enjoy horror film genre?
I like dumb scary movies.
Okay. Because I have this like theory that scary movies are at their best when you're like a younger teenager.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like 13 to 15.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like that's the target for all of them, which is funny because like all scary movies are like rated R, rated 18A here. And yeah, it's like your target audience are teenagers. I mean, even now, like I'll go watch a scary movie just for the thrill of it or whatever, but you don't have the same effect you have when you're first starting to watch them. Like I remember some of the first scary movies I started watching when I was 12, 13. I remember seeing The Ring for the first time and being fucking just destroyed for like a month.
Yeah.
And then you go back and watch it, you're like, this isn't even that scary. Signs fucked me up, man. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why stuff like that like really got to me. But it did when I was a teenager, and in a good way. Like I loved when stuff could get to me like that. But like now I watch it and was like, no matter what it is, any scary movie that comes out, I just sit there bored. It's like, okay. I went to go see that movie Unfriended with some friends.
Yep.
Which is about like the ghost Skype call or whatever.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting movie. It was shot in an interesting way. Like the entire movie was shot from the point of view of a Skype call. So, I can appreciate that from a making a movie standpoint. You do something a bit different.
I shrugged there.
But holy fuck, man, that was so bad. And like it was one of those things where people were like screaming out of just kind of like the shock. It was a lot of shock horror. They're just like, oh, hand in a blender. Ah.
That was pretty gross to be
People
fair.
Were screaming it, and I was fucking laughing my ass off.
I wouldn't scream at that, but I wouldn't laugh at it either.
You know the commercials that you see for Paranormal Activity?
Yeah.
And like everyone in the theater is like, yeah. That was the theater I was in, and I was just sitting there just like, I wasn't like laughing really like obnoxiously out loud, but I was kind of sitting in my seat just chuckling at the people around me.
There you go.
And my one friend got mad at me. They're like, dude, shut the fuck up. I'm like, everyone's so afraid. This is stupid. Like, what are we doing?
People get more, like, I mean, suspense does.
But that's not even a suspenseful movie. It's just shock gore. That's all it is.
I mean, people don't like that, right? I mean, people can't stay on the sight of blood for the most part. So, I mean, if someone gets their hand blended, I'm sure some people wouldn't enjoy that.
Maybe I'm just desensitized to that sort of thing.
Yeah, me or you might not think that's that, like, weird. Like, well, it's weird, of course. But me and you wouldn't think it's like, oh, my God, that's so, like, gory. But, I mean, to a lot of people, I mean, that's some pretty fucked up shit, right? I mean, I don't hate scary movies, but I don't love them. Like, I've never been a guy to, like, oh, tonight I'm just going to, like, watch a scary movie. I would rather watch something else. But at the same time, I don't, like, I don't know, I guess I don't like scary movies. But I won't say no to watching it if I'm with people, I guess. And it's also that thing where if I watch a scary movie, well, I mean, I guess depending on the scary movie, but I'm not going to be like, really scared or anything. It never really does anything to me. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's the reason I don't like them, is because I don't really.
Yeah.
It doesn't really do anything.
It doesn't do anything to you, so you just trying to enjoy it from a movie standpoint. There's no point, right?
Yeah. I mean, I like funny scary movies. Well, not even, like I like.
You like the like the.
I'll say I like
the old classics.
Yeah, I like old scary movies because they're just funny at this point.
Well, some of them, the older ones too, you appreciate from a like cinematic standpoint, right? Like that's the reason.
Not really.
Well, no, that's the reason you watch something like The Shining, and that The Shining is so good. Like
yeah,
that
but
movie,
I still don't even think that's more of a thriller than a scary movie.
The tone of that movie is so perfect, though.
Yeah,
and just the way it's shot is so perfect.
I wouldn't consider that a old scary movie. Like I wouldn't put that in the same.
What would you consider?
Like the old Halloweens, the old Friday the 13th.
So you like camp is what you like. You like the campiness of the movies.
Yeah.
You like the fact that the movie was made as a horror movie, but it's just like it
funny.
Has that funny element to it because it's so campy at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
So I would say The Shining is even more of a thriller than it is a scary movie.
Fair game.
That's definitely not something I would consider in the same area as movies like that. I mean, what would you consider old scary movies?
Oh God, there's so many. I went through a kick where like I watched a lot of like horror, quote unquote, horror genre movies from all over the place. It was back when what was that channel called? Oh, Cinemassacre.
Oh yeah.
Cinemassacre used to do a great thing where they would walk through the decades and do 30 movies in the month of the 30 best horror movies in the month of October or whatever. And every day there was a new horror movie on, and they would start like the creation of film and then move throughout the decades, and I would watch along with all those movies with that. So from that I saw a lot of great stuff. Like Vincent Price was one of the greatest horror genre actors in all time, just because he had this like feel and tone and just expression to him that it's just like do you know what I mean? Just that's something. He just had that
scary man.
He's a scary man.
Yeah, and like it never was really. No one had really done that before.
No, nobody had really done that before.
Yeah,
That's
true. It was a totally new thing.
There was a couple, but he did it in a way that was different.
He did it in the best way.
There was a couple horror movie superstars before him. But he did it in a way that was different, right?
Yeah. What was that one movie about the it was black and white, weird, scary guy?
Nosferatu.
Yeah, I always want to call him Nostradamus, but that's the guy that predicted all the things. There was a show about him. There was a show.
Nostradamus?
Yeah, there was a show about Nostradamus. Not Nosferatu. There was a movie.
We shouldn't get me talking about Nostradamus, because I find Nostradamus such an interesting character in history.
Yeah.
Because he's got this like fame that's just become something that's beyond.
Didn't he basically just like do a bunch of drugs, go into like hallucinations, and then just like write down what he hallucinated about?
He was just yay and nay.
Cause like, didn't he have a kid that like saw it once? He was like, "Wow, that's terrifying."
Yay and nay. I mean, he was like, he would make these predictions and stuff like that, and they were very vague, and it was a lot of stuff that, like, as history goes on, the chances of stuff happening, like, I like to call him like the original cold reader. Do you know what cold reading is?
No.
So cold reading is like this practice that's like, South Park had a great episode making fun of it, but it's basically a practice where it's like there's enough common things that you can find something out about someone very fast, and it was exploited by all those like weird psychics and stuff like that. It's a very common tactic that you see like a psychic use, right? Like, so all those like TV psychics and everything like that, they're cold readers.
Yeah.
So what they'll do is, like, you're in a room full of people and you say, like, I'm sensing, someone here has great loss, and like obviously someone going to see a psychic maybe is dealing with loss. Mm-hmm. And you get a bunch of people like, oh, and it's like, oh, I feel a man's presence here. And then you have the one person like, oh, my husband passed away. And like you can just kind of like put enough pieces together, just some very general facts that you can pull out of a crowd that make it seem like and then that plus TV editing makes people look like
you got yourself a fucking TV
they're
show.
Awesome, right?
You got yourself a goddamn TV show.
But yeah, like a lot of the Nostradamus predictions, you could, I mean, it's just stuff like, I mean, the guy was amazing, don't get me wrong, but like, it's stuff where it's just like, I mean, any point from his time onwards, if anything close would happen like that, people would tie that event to him, right?
Can I do that?
Sure.
Can I start making predictions?
Do it.
How like precise do I need to be Nosferatu?
I think we live in a time now where you have to be a lot more precise. I think people like him, because they did it so early, they didn't have to be very precise. But
all right,
some of his stuff's actually kind of interesting. Like, but it's interesting in a way where it's like, okay, you know, anyone could really just like throw like you're basically just throwing an underhand out into a field of batters and hoping someone hits the ball, right?
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, we were talking about horror movies before.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite horror movie then?
I don't know.
Like that isn't The Shining, because that's not really a horror movie.
See, I would have said The Shining.
I feel like it's more of a thriller, which I don't know. I guess people can put whatever genre they want to what or whatever. You know, it's your opinion, but.
That's tough. I honestly, you know what, I'm gonna throw out like a shout to something like Cabin in the Woods, just because of how fan servicey it was to the horror genre.
Okay.
But again, I wouldn't call it my like favorite horror movie ever of all time.
Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead is fantastic.
I love that movie.
Well, the greatest thing about George Romero was George Romero created he created an original horror villain, right?
Yeah.
There's a oh god. I would pull it up, but it will take me way too long to pull it up right now. But there's a great demographic on it was during October. Someone posted on Reddit, but it was all the different monsters in horror. I shouldn't even say monsters, because monsters was one of the categories, but the different categories of horror movies. So like vampires and, you know, just like a monster being, and then like slashers and all this stuff. Yeah. And it showed all the decades, and it had a count of the 3 biggest kind of genres that would come out during each decade. So like, you know, the 2000s are very zombie heavy, so it was like zombies, ghosts, monsters, and like the 90s ghosts were the big deal. Like it was almost all ghosts, and then slashers and barely any monsters. And
what was the big slasher decade?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you, but
the 90s.
I would say probably the 80s. I'd say the 80s was probably slashery.
What movie came out in the 80s?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out in the 80s, did it not? Maybe that was.
Maybe.
Let me double check. I might be wrong. I think on the top of my head, I feel like I'm wrong now. I feel like it was 1973.
What was the most famous movie to come out in the 80s? What was like the most?
There was a ton, man.
The highest grossing 80s movie. I don't know, the 80s.
Okay, 1974 was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so it was 1 year off. Yeah.
Like 70s is far enough ago to be like, oh, these are like things that people talk about, or whatever. 90s was like when I was born, so like I just kind of know about that. Don't know that much about the 80s.
I bet you know more than you.
I mean, probably, but
than you think. Like, there's a lot of great movies that came out of the 80s that you probably just don't realize came out in the 80s.
Did one of the Star Wars movies come out in the 80s?
Indiana Jones came out in the 80s.
Okay, I was gonna say Indiana Jones.
Empire Strikes Back came out in the 80s.
Right. Hey, anyone that was born in the 80s, sorry about shitting on your decade there.
The movie that we've been talking about for fucking all stream, The Shining, came out in the 80s.
Can we cut this part of the podcast, you think? Well, I'm the editor, so.
E.T. came out in the 80s?
I know. I remember when E.T. came out. Actually, no. I remember you and Mom wanted to watch E.T. with us when we were kids.
Okay.
And I was too afraid, and I didn't do it. I sat in my room instead, and you guys watched E.T. I didn't like little alien men.
That's fair. Ghostbusters, Scarface.
Okay, so.
Terminator. Back to the Future. We're forgetting about Back to the Future. We're in 2015 now.
Okay, so
one of the greatest movies of all time, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, came out in the 80s. Yeah, the 80s was a great time for movies, man.
Yeah, sorry to the
my
80s.
Favorite Stephen King, well, one of my favorite Stephen King movies came out in the 80s. Stand By Me came out in the 80s.
I've seen that movie like 7 times.
It's a good movie, yeah.
Yeah. The kid acting is a little
bad, but
you know, still good. Except for the main character, the main bro that was pretty good in it. But actually, who's his name?
Will Wheaton was in that.
River Phoenix.
River Phoenix was in that as well.
Then he died.
Rest in peace, River.
R.I.P. River. It's River. What are all the names? River, Hakeem, and the other one. There's another kid
Another
in
one
that
of the
family,
Phoenix.
and it was like Wind or something like that.
Maybe.
It was a very odd name. It was a very odd Phoenix name. I remember River. I've been told that River Phoenix was supposed to be like one of the most popular actors in the world, and then he went and died. So
Happens, man.
Poor Riv dog. All right, so what I've learned today is I'm an asshole and don't know anything. It's fine because I've seen like every one of those movies probably more than once.
Well, I was just mentioning movies that I know you've seen. There's, like I said, the 80s were a great time for movies.
But I didn't. Well, actually, once you said, I'm like, oh yeah, knew that came out in the 80s. Knew that came out in the 80s. Knew that came in the 80s. Actually, once I said that, I was like, oh, Back to the Future came out in the 80s. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure people that were born
and Indiana
in the 80s.
Jones, man. Indiana Jones is so fucking good.
Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be a person that listens to this that was born in the 80s that's going to be like, wow, you're an asshole. And yeah, you're right. So
it's true, you are.
Yeah, don't even worry about it, man. I am absolutely an asshole. But
I hate when there's like people like born in like 1989 that are like, oh, you don't know anything about the 80s, man. That was my childhood. It's like, dude, you were one. Shut the fuck up. Like, if you said that about the 90s, okay. You were growing up in the 90s, fine. If you're born in 1989, 1988, and you say, oh, you don't know anything about the 80s, that was my childhood, don't make fun of it.
Well, I mean, it's like...
People do that about the 90s all the time.
Yeah, that
people are like, oh, I'm a 90s kid. I was like, you're a fucking millennium child.
Yeah, because, like, I was born in 96, so it's like, I was 4 when 2000 hit.
Yeah.
And I'm not even like, oh, like, I'm a 90s kid, because, like, I mean, I was born in the 90s. Like, you can see, think about it, like, 95 and under and 95 and over is a really big cutoff as to whether you can say you, like, experienced the 90s
Yay or nay.
not.
Like, I will say, like, my first, like, the things I remember from the 90s, I probably consumed in the early 2000s, in the mid 2000s. I just remember them from then, like the cartoons and stuff like that. I don't know. It's one.
I guess.
There's a
Well,
weird culture associated with like, ooh, I was born in this decade, so everyone else who was born in this decade go us.
Yeah.
It's like, shut the fuck up. Who cares?
Yeah, no, I mean, there was kids that were like 2 or 3 years younger than me who'd be like, oh yeah, I love the 90s. I'm like, I don't remember the 90s. How would you?
Yeah.
You were
born in 1999. You don't remember the 90s.
Like you were like 2 when 2000 hit.
Again, like a lot of those movies we talked about from the 80s, I watched in my childhood, but I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm an 80s child. I was born in 93. I barely remember the 90s. And again, like the stuff from the 90s I remember, like I said, I probably consumed in the early 2000s. I don't remember much from the 90s.
Yeah, like
I don't claim to.
Like, I love shit that came out of the 90s,
yeah.
but I don't remember them when I was a kid. I remember them when I was like 8.
and media is a weird thing. Like people remember media in a weird way. It's very nostalgic, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like even the media from the 90s that I remember, I'm just like, okay, it was good.
What's like the worst?
I grew up in,
like, what's the one thing that people are so nostalgic about, but it was actually really bad?
The 90s.
Fair enough. No, fair enough. But like, what would like the big movie for that be? You think?
When you're talking about movies, I think of cartoons more when I think of the 90s. But it's funny because
I think of bands a lot.
A lot of the 90s cartoons and stuff like that people like talk about from the 90s were either made in the 80s or, you know, or really weren't that popular in the 90s.
Or were made in the 40s and just played a lot in the 90s.
Oh, that bugs the shit on me too.
It's like, oh yeah, Looney Tunes. That's my favorite cartoon. Like, I love okay, Looney Tunes, fucking amazing.
It still holds up. I still watch Looney. We were talking about this the other day. If you have a Netflix account, there's a good chance that some of the Looney Tunes movies are on your Netflix accounts.
Oh yeah.
Go watch them, man. Go back and watch them. They still hold up. They're
absolutely.
Still fucking fantastic. And I'm not talking about Space Jam. Space Jam was more of a
Space Jam's real fucking good.
Space Jam's fantastic, but I'm talking about some
that holds up.
I'm talking about some of the original like Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner movie, which was the big chase movie and the and that sort of thing. Like, go watch them.
Or just like the Looney Tunes cartoons, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's so good. Scooby Doo, Hanna-Barbera was a genius. Like,
Hanna-Barbera was fantastic. I mean, like the cartoons I remember from the 90s were like the cartoons I remember I watched as a kid were cartoons from like the 50s and 60s.
I sometimes like I was watching some Hanna-Barbera stuff the other day.
It's fantastic.
And I was thinking about how hard it must have been to make the decision to be an animator at that point.
Yeah.
Right? Because the technology wasn't there.
Yeah, it'd be
difficult.
It would have been real fucking hard. But and I mean, it got to actually, and it's not one of those things where like, because like with like hand drawn cartoons these days, or like hand done cartoons these days, it's still like you do enough of it where you can just put it into a computer and then animate it from there, right? Like, I mean, South Park may have used to be been done with just like paper, right?
So like the founders of Hanna-Barbera, there was 3 dudes that found it, right?
Hanna-Barbera and
no, it was Joseph Barbera, William Hanna, and George Sidney.
Why isn't Sidney in there? What happened to George?
Sidney probably was the genius behind it, but they became a private company in 1957.
Wow,
that's unbelievable, man.
What was your favorite Hanna-Barbera cartoon?
Oh, fuck. I'd have to look through the list of them because there's so many good ones.
I loved the Jetsons.
The Jetsons was really good.
I loved it.
Jetsons was very, very
I loved
good.
the intro.
Let me look through a list of some of their stuff.
I mean, didn't Hanna-Barbera do the Laugh Olympics as well?
Yeah, a lot of that stuff was them.
Yeah, I loved the Laugh Olympics.
A lot of the original like Cartoon Network stuff. Was them.
We used to have a
Flintstones was them, Jetsons was them, Scooby-Doo, Smurfs, Yogi Bear.
Smurfs was them.
Smurfs was them.
Yeah,
Smurfs was good.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, actually, I didn't love Smurfs when I was a kid, but that's because I don't think it was played over stuff like.
Smurfs might have been a little earlier than some of the stuff that they were still showing for you.
Well, but the thing about when we were kids is we had. Well, actually, I guess when I was. When I was.
We did have Teletoon Retro.
Yeah, Teletoon Retro was a big thing, right? So it would play
Huckleberry
all that stuff.
Hound.
Actually, it's funny that we talked about this. That's all our dad would watch too, was Teletoon Retro. That's like the only thing he would watch.
Yeah, he enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, that and The Simpsons.
Quick Draw McGraw, Mark.
Oh my God, Quick Draw McGraw.
That's 1950s.
Yeah.
Top Cat.
I'm glad I was right with the 40s.
Wally Gator.
Wally Gator.
Wally Gator, yeah. Ricochet Rabbit.
Was the Pink Panther Hanna-Barbera?
Oh, you know what? I'll tell you which one was my favorite. I've got it right here. Magilla Gorilla.
Magilla Gorilla. That was a fantastic cartoon.
Fucking amazing. Adam Ant. That was great too.
Yeah, Adam Ant was really good.
Hillbilly Bears.
Oh, I don't know if I know of Hillbilly Bears.
You would know if you looked up a picture of the Hillbilly Bears right now. You'll remember them in an instant.
Okay, maybe I'll look it up.
There's just so many good ones.
Hanna-Barbera killed it, eh?
They did everything, man. Every childhood comic was cartoon was them.
Yeah, that's odd. I mean,
the Banana Splits. There you go, Mark. The Banana Splits and the Banana Splits Adventure Hour.
Yeah, I remember Banana
1968 to 1970.
You loved that show.
That show used to put me in stitches, man.
Yeah, you loved that show.
There's Wacky Races, 1968.
Wacky Races, that's the one.
Yeah,
that is the one.
And Muttley and their flying machines.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. I made my image look like Dick Dastardly for a while. I grew a Dick Dastardly mustache for a while.
There you go. Yeah,
and people would always try to be like, "Oh, you look like a cartoon villain." I was like, "It's Dick Dastardly. I'm going for it.
I am the cartoon villain.
I am Dick Dastardly."
Oh man,
it's a nostalgia moment for cartoons, isn't it?
Yeah. Because those were, those are all fantastic. Wacky Races. Oh.
Yeah.
Man, that was a show I watched when I was a kid, and I never knew the name of it.
Wacky Races?
Yeah.
Wacky Races.
That was my favorite cartoon when I was a kid. Never knew the name of that cartoon when I was a child. Now I do. And I always thought it was the Laugh Olympics. I always thought that it was part of Laugh Olympics.
Laugh Olympics was very similar. It basically took all the cartoons or all the characters from different Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yeah.
And put it all into they would do different sports, and every episode was I think they did 3 different sports every episode. Just a little.
The fucking snickering dog.
But again, imagine being those 3 dudes in the 1950s making the decision to become an animator, right?
Yeah.
Because now animators are they work. An animator can get a job in anything.
Yeah.
Then it was you're either gonna make it or you're gonna fail miserably.
Mm-hmm. It paid off though.
Paid off.
It truly did. I wonder how popular those were back then. Because I'm sure that was like the only thing being shown on TV for it.
I mean, it's the same. It comes down to it. Like you look at like our generation remembers Saturday morning cartoons. The generation before us remembers Saturday morning cartoons, and the generation before that remembers Saturday morning cartoons.
Saturday morning cartoons has always been a thing. I guess it was
always been.
I guess Saturday morning cartoons then was a lot more prevalent than it is now because there's probably only like 4 different cartoons that you'd watch. Now it's like, oh, Saturday morning cartoons. It's like 17 different channels.
It's funny because I could still tell you. I could still, yeah, exactly. It's YouTube now. I could tell you that, like, even now the channel numbers that I would flip through on Saturday mornings to get to all my different cartoons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the channel names of all of them?
Yeah.
I guess they've never really changed.
Yeah, I probably could.
YTV.
If you were up early in the morning, Fox Kids had like Transformers and that stuff on, so you'd watch that, and then it would get like Power Rangers was like the last show on Fox Kids, like that was the final one, and then you'd usually switch over to like Teletoon or YTV, which was 25 and 50.
Where was Pokemon played?
That was YTV channel 25.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. YTV had a lot more of the like animated like anime stuff.
You know, it's one of the Pokemon is one of those shows where I loved as a kid.
It doesn't hold up as well.
No, it holds up.
Okay, because I watched the entire series like maybe a year ago and I loved it.
Yeah,
like
the
entire original.
Well, but it's still one of those things where I've never watched all of it.
You can't watch all of it. There's so much now. It'd be impossible.
Well, I'm talking about like the original Indigo series.
Go watch it, man.
I don't know how it ends.
It's fantastic. Go watch it.
How does it end?
I mean, it kind of just flows into the next series.
Oh, all right. Does he not win the? Because I mean, he goes from generation to generation.
Yeah, he goes generation to generation.
Every new Pokemon game, there's a new Pokemon series.
Yeah. No. If you. Yeah.
Which is an interesting way to do a TV show.
It was very interesting.
Because if I'm not mistaken, the TV show came out before the games came out.
It was started around the same time. There was a comic as well, and the comic was, I believe, earlier. Okay. And there's stuff from the comic that's a bit different than the.
Yeah, that's
people will always remember the games first, though.
Manga is what they call them.
Especially for our generation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There was something about getting into something like that, and
at one point,
it was like the original like RPG, right? Like it was the original role playing game. Like the amount of hours
Final
that
Fantasy,
kids
maybe one of the Final Fantasy games.
Those came out before, but for our generation, it was the first. It was the most successful thing ever. Like it was.
Oh yeah.
And the amount of hours you could dump into it, even though it's like going back and looking at it now, it's like you start here, you have to end here, and you have to collect 8 badges on the way. The amount of hours that went into that game was unbelievable.
I mean, that being said, even just playing the game. Just like, you know, if you're playing, I mean, I know people can speed run in like fucking like 8 hours or whatever, which is insane.
And
like,
less than that, yeah.
If you're just like sitting there, yeah, but like not by breaking the game or anything, right?
Yeah.
If you just sit there and like play it like a normal person would, every game
20 or 40 hours, right?
Sorry?
20 or 40 hours, right?
It's at least 30 hours.
It's crazy.
I don't think I've ever played like just like no matter how fast I was playing, I don't think I've ever played a game of Pokemon, which I've played every single Pokemon game that's ever came out. I don't think I've played one in less than 30 hours, which is crazy.
I fucking like I'm not one of those people that knows everything about the Pokemon series of games. Like there's those people out there that know every little tip and factoid, and you know, I just love the way those games play. When
the like yellow, blue, and red get released on virtual console, and I'm gonna play yellow, I'm gonna have no fucking idea what I'm doing. Like it's one of those, like I played that game when I was a kid. Actually, I don't think I played yellow. I think I played blue and red, but I do not remember it whatsoever. I'm gonna have no fucking idea what I'm doing, and it's gonna be great.
If you wanted a good present for me, it would be to get the ones that I haven't played.
And you can just play the ones on that actually, there are like 2 I don't own that I played on emulators, I guess.
I never played the black and white ones, and I never played Diamond and Pearl. And I would like to play the remakes of Soul Silver and Heart Gold.
Okay, well I have Soul Silver.
I would love to get in there and play that one.
Yeah.
I would love to play like the Diamond and Pearl.
Those ones are expensive these days.
It's unbelievable. I've tried to buy them. It was like $90.
I mean, I have it now, so I paid like $65 for it, which was okay. I mean, that's like really fucking expensive for a Pokemon game. Fantastic game. Soul Silver is one of the better Pokemon games ever made.
The only thing that I'm hesitant about, like you always say, like, yeah, I don't mind if you play mine. I'm so hesitant about it because I'm so like protective of them. Like I rarely ever delete a save in a game like that. Like I still have my original Emerald and Ruby saves and stuff like that. Like we could go play those games right now and the original saves are still there.
Yeah.
The one that I started when those games came out are still there. I almost have the complete decks in the newest ones.
Yeah, that's
I've been going nuts about it.
I wonder if you're ever gonna finish this.
I haven't touched that thing in a little while, and this conversation is going to make me go back and start doing it again.
Good. That'd be really cool if you did it. It's Pokemon's one of those things where it's like, you know, at one point we thought that like, because at one point it was probably one of the most popular games in the world.
Yep.
And like I looked at that now. I'm like, wow, that's insane that many people played that game.
Yeah.
And it's still the same. Like that many people still play the game.
It carried on from generation to generation.
Yeah, there's no generational gap with those games.
I remember there was a big moment in my life when I look back and I was like, wow, like that just shows how long it went on. Was like one of our neighbors who's literally like half my age, within the last like 5 or 6 years, got into like Pokemon cards, and I was like, yeah, those are still like, are those still and like they were talking about like how like the most popular kids in the school and like in elementary school have like the best Pokemon cards. I'm like,
shiny Charizard.
I sat there like just in awe. I was just like, that was grade 4, grade 5 for me. Like I just remember that. Like I remember when that was the trend at school, and like that was everything I could do. And the fact that it's still that way, and instead of our generation being the generation that just continued to buy those and that's who it was targeted for, it was just like every new generation, it was a new set of cards, and it just kept going and going and going. And you know, the people who stopped buying them thought that they just weren't a thing anymore. When the generation below you, it was the biggest deal in the world. It was unbelievable to me.
Yeah, it's impressive that it still has this like longevity. Like, I mean, I remember games came and went. Things like Beyblades, those things were fucking insane. Those things were so popular. And like Pokemon kind of took a backseat for a little while.
To the international friends out here, were Beyblades as popular internationally?
I don't know.
Because I mean, at the time I wouldn't have known if they were or not. There was no such thing as social media to find out. But yeah, Hero was the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah, it was huge.
You were literally shunned if you didn't have a Beyblade.
Oh yeah, I remember I had the holder for it.
Oh yeah,
like the ripcord. You can make go faster and all that.
Yeah, and then you could go like the market and buy like the extra long ripcord, the like plastic ones made like manufactured for like $1, and they were just like twice as long, so your thing would go twice as fast. And
yeah, like
the big steel plates that would go in them, and if you had a steel plate, it was like, fuck off, you don't use that.
Yeah. All we would do at recess was just hog the plastic slides.
You'd use the base of the plastic slide and play,
I had a cool ass blue one. I loved that thing.
I had a green one.
God, those things were... I wonder how much... Like, I wonder if I want on eBay if I could buy a Beyblade.
If you and I should buy one and have a Beyblade battle on stream.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
I would do it.
That'd be so great.
It had the different chips in the middle? Is that what you're just about to say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That represented the different like monsters that would come out.
Yeah, they used it in the TV show they had, which I didn't really enjoy that much when I was a kid.
See, I actually didn't mind the Beyblade TV show. That was one that I watched because I believe when I got home from school it was on right before Pokemon.
There you go. And
so like there was like, if I remember, like I kind of in my brain I bunched a few together. Like there was Beyblade, Pokemon, Digimon, and Yu-Gi-Oh, and I didn't get on the Yu-Gi-Oh or Digimon, and some of my friends were really all about it.
I did not know even what those were about.
I was all about the Beyblade and Pokemon.
Yeah, and like Yu-Gi-Oh seemed like the Yu-Gi-Oh game itself seemed like it was an easier card gameplay. Jesus, I can't talk.
The card game was more interesting than anything.
Yeah, and it seemed like it was a funner game to play than the Pokemon card game was. Right, like because I mean, like Pokemon cards, like I mean, I just used them because like, oh cool, I got a fucking Charizard here, that's awesome. But I never actually
It was almost a collectible for the game.
Yeah,
it was like a tangible collectible.
It wasn't like it was
You didn't play the card game.
I didn't, at least. I don't know many people that did either. Like in your,
I had Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I never understood.
I didn't even know what to do with them. But I remember like when I wasn't working at the market, but I would be at the market just as nobody was around to watch me, and I had to go. Mom would always give me like $5, and I'd go and buy a pack of Pokemon cards, and I was like, oh, cool, like, look through my Pokemon cards, this is awesome. And I'd get like the energies and stuff like that, and just like we shared a like card case or whatever.
Yeah.
And it would just be like case or like pages upon pages upon pages of energy cards.
Yeah, the different stones and stuff like that
like
too.
the fire, grass, and water.
Yeah,
and all
I remember that. Jesus.
Yeah, that was
We should buy a pack of Pokemon cards.
They would be. Well, I mean, I can't even say they'd be so confusing because I know all the Pokemon, right? I mean, I've played every fucking game, but I wonder if it's changed at all.
So we're gonna go on Amazon when we're done. We're gonna go buy a pack of Pokemon cards.
There you go.
And 2 Beyblades.
I don't know if you could find them on Amazon. I think they're that like just gone. I think they're that just like. Dude, I don't know. Like you could probably find one on eBay because you can find anything on eBay.
Yeah.
Like
I got a Snapchat the other day from a friend who had moved out of their parents' house or whatever, and the parents had a box of stuff for them to come get because they didn't want it in their house anymore.
Yeah.
It had a Tamagotchi in it, and the Tamagotchi still worked.
Oh my god, that's insane.
She sent me a Snapchat. I was like, dude, I got a working Tamagotchi. I was like, that must be worth money at some point.
Yeah, probably. That's what I'm wondering about a Beyblade. I wonder if Beyblades are like $20 now.
For all I know, they could be.
Hell, they could be like $100. I don't even know.
I think they were around like the $20 mark when they came out.
Oh, really? I thought they were like $10 for some reason. But you're probably right.
Yeah, you go Walmart, you buy a box, and it had like the different. You would buy it by the monster or whatever, and then
I feel like it was before Walmarts were insanely popular around here. Cause like
I just remember going to Walmart and buying it.
I remember
Maybe
specifically going to
Zellers.
I remember specifically going to there used to be a game store over on Columbia and Fisher Hallman.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. You go there to get a lot of stuff.
I remember specifically the very first Beyblade I ever got was in there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I know that one too. Yeah.
I don't remember really going to Walmarts and stuff like that when I was a kid. Like the one closest to us wasn't there, right? So just
that one over by Sunrise Center was around for a long time.
Yeah. I remember hated going to that one though.
Yeah.
There's
one other one.
Piece of shit.
Like Guelph or something that one will go to the odd time, but yeah.
Guelph, Jesus.
So I think now we got 2 within 5 minutes, but
yeah, we do. Goddamn Walmarts.
Man, that's crazy. Fucking Beyblades.
Right? Some. This has been
a nostalgia podcast.
Yeah, the Pastcast.
Pastcast, yeah.
There you go. But I mean, that being said, I think it's about time to wrap up. It's been a wonderful time chatting with you, Curtis.
Has it?
Well,
is it ever wonderful chatting with me?
No, but I like the people to think it is.
Okay, you like to think that we enjoy each other's company.
Like I'm just gonna.
We're really good at giving them the impression that we're
friends.
Like
each other. Yeah. We're in it for this cash.
Yeah.
The cash.
Yeah.
The cash indeed.
I don't know what's up, really, do they?
So you got anything to add before we leave?
Fuck you, Mark.
Oh, harsh.
No, I'm getting
rude. I'm gonna say I'm gonna give a shout out to Dossie Flossie for
oh yeah, we're gonna do that
podcast.
So we don't have sponsors because we're not people. Like we don't matter to anyone.
Exactly.
Except for in a way we do have a sponsor because we have what's becoming almost like a recording studio down here. We got a nice quiet room with like mic arms.
Well, he didn't buy us the room.
No, he didn't buy us the room, but in a way, Dossie Flossie has bought most of the equipment that has gone into recording the podcast besides the mics in the room. Obviously our laptops we had before, but like the different swing arms we use and all that stuff, the brackets and everything that we have that hang them on the walls.
It's all
they are directly because of Dossie Flossie. So shout out to Dossie, our sponsor, Dossie Flossie.
Yeah. And I will say, not to take anything away from our other donators, it's just it's just a lot from him. The
timing and the amounts.
Yeah, exactly.
He's our sponsor, so thank you for sponsoring our podcast, Dossie.
Yeah. This has been the Brunch Party Podcast.
Oh yeah, also, but because of that,
hold
up before you do your close.
Yep.
if you have any problems with this podcast and you think it's shitty, don't come to us.
Yep.
Go to Dossie.
Go to Dossie. Yeah, come to our stream. He'll be there. Just be like, Dossie.
Tweet at Dossie Flossie. I don't know if that's his account,
don't think it is.
But it probably isn't. So you'll tweet at someone random. But yeah, just tell him that his podcast
and just
is
be like, the people you sponsor are dumb, annoying, rude, and bad podcasters.
Yeah, and like my other last word I'll put in there is that we're going into episode 4 now. I'm gonna come up with another great title because I feel like I do really well with these titles and I enjoy doing them.
Yep. Okay.
By the time this goes live, I bet we'll be at our 100 listens on the podcast.
I would love that.
And that's fantastic.
That would be fantastic.
So thank you to everyone who takes the time to listen to this.
Yeah.
Remember to tweet us if you want guests.
Yeah. So
if you want to be a guest, let us know and we'll think about it.
Yeah, we'll probably say no because we're jerks. But
there is some requirements. There are some requirements. We won't just let anyone on because we need high quality audio. So you have to own a good
Newcastle.
Okay, and you also can't be from Newcastle
or Wales.
Yeah, sorry, Mozzie.
Yeah, he doesn't listen to us anyways. You think Skype has made it to Wales yet?
No, they don't have the internet there, do they?
No, probably not. Probably not. He.
I like to imagine that he runs a cable.
See, I was gonna say he
internet.
has a those like standard or the stationary bikes.
Yeah.
He has a bike on that whenever he uses the internet.
Like
that's what powers.
It powers his router.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that picture in my head.
Yeah, Mozzie just running. His sheep's just like hanging up beside him. What do you think Mozzie's sheep's name is? Okay, we're gonna go past that one. Anyways,